Alien General Krothavar, supreme orchestrator of strategic affairs for the Threx Dominion, sat in his obsidian command chair, antennae twitching with bureaucratic pride. Around him pulsed the Hollow War Room, its hexagonal panels flickering with synchronized precision. In front of him floated a glowing datasphere labeled Subject, Human Combat Footage. Classification, Red, Restricted Experimental Dangerous. His third heart buzzed uneasily. The Threx Dominion had subjugated over 71 species, not because they were cruel, no, they were organized. The galaxy, Krothavar believed, functioned best when catalogued, scheduled, and sanitized. Every invasion was pre-approved by 6 levels of oversight. Every engagement followed a strict combat doctrine known as the Protocol. It was beautiful, harmonious, clean, just the way he liked it. Until the humans happened. "Play the footage," he commanded, his translator converting the clicks and throat gurgles of his native Threxian into something resembling board authority. The lights dimmed, the room held its breath. The screen lit up with grainy, kinetic chaos. A human soldier designation, Sergeant Ezekiel Zeke Harbinger, stood on what appeared to be a makeshift hoverboard, surfing down a collapsing alien artillery platform while dual-wielding plasma pistols and screaming something unintelligible. He launched off the edge, flipped upside down in midair, shot 3 Threx drones with flawless precision, and landed in a bucket of engine coolant. "Pause," Krothavar said. The screen froze on Zeke grinning wildly, face covered in green coolant and some kind of edible sprinkles. "What is he yelling?" the general asked, narrowing his ocular membranes. The AI interpreter Vok9 hesitated, translating, approximate phrase, "Ride the boom banana, nerds." Krothavar blinked slowly. "Is that a tactical directive?" "Unknown," Vok9 replied. "Linguistic analysis indicates it is both a battle cry and a form of recreational slang involving fruit and destruction." The general leaned back. He felt the onset of stress, which in Threxians presented as uncontrollable molting. He clicked his mandibles sharply. "Continue the footage." Next, Zeke infiltrating a command bunker by disguising himself as a vending machine. Then, somehow detonating a Threx hover tank using only chewing gum, a spoon, and a motivational poster. Then, leading a captured platoon of Threx soldiers in a choreographed dance routine that ended with them defecting en masse and opening a fusion-powered taco truck. Krothavar's fourth heart shut down preemptively. "Stop," he rasped. The war room fell silent. The staff, a sea of blue-scaled strategists, exchanged nervous glances. No one dared speak. "I have a question," Krothavar said slowly. "Was this sanctioned?" "No," said Subcommander Vrel. "Humans don't appear to operate under any consistent combat doctrine. Each unit acts autonomously, improvising in real time." "Then why are they winning?" A long silence. "Statistical analysis shows they win 94% of engagements where they are outnumbered, outgunned, and outplanned," Vok9 answered. "Why?" "Unclear. Current hypothesis. Humans weaponize unpredictability." Krothavar stood, his exoskeletal knee popped in protest. "Show me more." Part 2 of the footage began. A desert planet, Threx heavy artillery emplacements, a perfectly coordinated perimeter. 0 blind spots, no weaknesses, it was textbook, it was flawless. Then came the sound. A shrill, rising wail. The camera zoomed. A single human dune buggy exploded over the ridge, launching into the air while playing yakety sax at full volume. Inside were 5 human soldiers in matching flamingo print armor, wielding what appeared to be paintball guns filled with acid and glitter. They hit the perimeter like a polka drum hurricane. One soldier, a linguistics major with no weapons training, accidentally defeated an elite Threx bladewalker by tripping over his own shoelace and headbutting the alien in the groin. The battle was over in 12 minutes. The only thing the humans took was a Threx refrigerator filled with battle snacks. Krothavar turned slowly, shell-pale. Is this some kind of deliberate psychological warfare?" "Yes," Vok9 said, "but only incidentally. We believe they are simply like this." The general sat down very carefully. He took a long breath, the kind that signaled either enlightenment or a species-wide panic response. "Prepare my resignation scroll," he whispered. But he was only on hour 1 of the footage. He still had 47 more. And Zeke Harbinger had just discovered Threk's High Command's private karaoke server. Krothavar did not sleep. Not because he wasn't tired, he was, in fact, molting in a pattern that spelled WHY in Threxian cursive, but because sleep was now conceptually impossible. For the past 6 hours, he had been subjected to the worst thing a high-ranking Threx officer could experience. Human combat footage, unfiltered, unstructured, and aggressively illogical. He watched a squad of humans board a Threx battleship disguised as a musical troupe. Their instruments were also weapons. One was just a modified tuba that launched EMP grenades. The mission logs referred to it only as Operation Jazzpocalypse. In another clip, a human private, apparently lost, stumbled into a strategic command center while eating a sandwich. Not only did he survive, but the sheer audacity of his presence caused a factional dispute among the Threx tacticians, leading to a civil mutiny and the collapse of their entire outpost. The sandwich remained intact. Krothavar had been a general for 80 Threxian cycles. He had a doctorate in quantum battlefield theory and 3 honorary medals for diagrammatic accuracy. He once executed a full-scale orbital siege using only 3 ships and a very well-timed traffic delay. None of that mattered anymore. Now he was watching humans win a zero-gravity firefight by duct-taping themselves to spinning office chairs and using them as gyroscopic death platforms. "Subcommander Vrel," he said, voice hushed and trembling, "is there an official term for this? Tactical behavior." Vrel twitched. "The closest descriptor we have is freestyle entropy-based maneuvering." "That's not a doctrine." "No, sir, it's a vibe." Krothavar clutched the sides of his head as if trying to prevent his brain from physically exiting his skull. "A vibe." "Yes, sir. Vrel, we invaded a planet full of creatures who defeat precision with vibes." There was a pause, during which everyone in the command room contemplated the warm embrace of retirement. Krothavar stood. "I want to see the footage from their first encounter with the Velshen marauders. The Velshen were undefeated until they faced humans." The holoscreen rippled, displaying a swamp world under heavy monsoon. The Velshen, 10-foot reptilian juggernauts with ceremonial war chains and heat-resistant armor, had cornered a team of 5 human scouts. No cover, no backup, no plan. At least that's what the Velshen thought. The humans deployed a thing called the bounce trap. Krothavar watched in horror as the humans threw industrial-strength superballs coated in lubricant into the swamp. The Velshen charged, the balls bounced, the giants slipped, chaos erupted. What followed was 20 straight minutes of uncoordinated slapstick violence, ricocheting projectiles, screaming, and something called the double-knee elbow drop. One Velshen fell on his own commander. 2 others were launched into low orbit via repurposed trebuchet. By the end, the Velshen surrendered to a man named Corporal Pickles, who fought while wearing a raccoon onesie for morale reasons. "This is a strategic breakdown," Krothavar whispered. "They're not defeating us on purpose, they're just being themselves." The footage cut to post-battle interviews. One human, face smeared with swamp goo and victory glitter, was asked why they assaulted the Velshen camp instead of retreating. His response felt like it. Vok 9 chimed in. "Analysis indicates humans respond to danger with increased improvisation, lateral thinking, and disproportionate overconfidence." Overconfidence, they're dancing in the middle of firefights. Correct, they refer to it as asserting dominance. Krothavar wheezed into a stress pouch. It got worse. New footage, a diplomatic summit on neutral ground between Threx Command and several captured human officers. The humans showed up wearing tuxedos with LED boaties, accompanied by a DJ and a fog machine. Their spokesperson was Zeke Harbinger, shirtless, riding a mechanical spider stolen from Threx Engineering. "I've read the transcript of this event," Vrel said. Zeke introduced himself as Captain Yolo of the Insanity-class cruiser Nope Cannon. "He has no official rank, sir. The title was self-declared during the meeting." The footage played. Zeke gave a 30-minute speech consisting mostly of metaphors, movie quotes, and an improvised interpretive dance titled, "This is Why You Lost." The Threx delegation left the summit voluntarily. The footage concluded with Zeke cannonballing into the conference table. Krothavar turned to the room. "This is a war we cannot win," he said. "We are structured, logical. They are a chaos engine powered by snack food and delusion." A strategist raised a claw. "Yes. What if we adapted, introduced irrationality protocols, simulated unpredictability?" Krothavar blinked. "You want to simulate chaos. We can't even predict which sock a human will wear to a funeral. They don't plan, they vibe. They enter battle while listening to playlists titled Get Wrecked Vol. 3. One soldier duct-taped grenades to pigeons. Another used interpretive slam poetry to disable a Threx AI. Silence. They broke one of our battlefield mechs by throwing a wedding inside it. It's still married, legally." Everyone turned to Vok 9 for confirmation. Vok 9 nodded. "The mech now identifies as Gretchen and has applied for domestic leave." Krothavar sagged. "I can't do this anymore. I trained my entire life to predict warfare. They're not unpredictable. They're anti-predictable. Every time you think they've hit rock bottom, they dig sideways and build an escape tunnel using spoons and sarcasm." He looked up. "Prepare a shuttle. I'm going to the High Council. I'm resigning in person." Vrel hesitated. "Sir, what if they intercept your shuttle?" "Then I'll die confused and covered in confetti, but I'm not watching any more of this footage." On the screen, Zeke was now launching pies at Threx destroyers from a modified railgun. And it was working. Krothavar's resignation shuttle, flawlessly crafted from polished obsidian alloys, triple-sealed against vacuum leaks, and stocked with 12 varieties of bureaucratic comfort paste, never made it to the High Council. It was intercepted mid-flight by a human vessel, not a warship, not even a scout. Just a retrofitted civilian cruiser painted neon green, covered in what scans described as motivational decals, and broadcasting a continuous audio loop of 1990s sitcom theme songs. The ship's name, according to the visual registry, was SS Unreasonable Confidence. They hailed him using an unencrypted frequency. No authentication, no codes. Just a smiling face that appeared on his view screen, Zeke Harbinger again. "Yo, General Bug Dude," Zeke shouted, shirtless and wearing a cape made from what looked like a Threxian diplomatic flag. "Sup?" Krothavar briefly considered initiating the emergency self-destruct sequence, but unfortunately, Threx ships had decommissioned that feature after an intern used it to call in sick. Zeke leaned toward the camera, eating what might have been cereal straight from a fusion core. "Just dropping by to personally thank you for the airspace. Sick route, smooth ride, great view. Anyway, we noticed you were resigning, and well, we figured we'd throw you a surprise party, classic Earth tradition." "I do not wish for a party," Krothavar said, the calm of a creature whose spirit had vacated its carapace. "Well, too late, man, we're in your ship. Also your coffee machine, upgraded, now it also dispenses nachos." Krothavar turned slowly in his command pod. He hadn't authorized boarding, he hadn't detected boarding. Then he heard it, distant music. Faint but unmistakably human. Krothavar's secondary eye swiveled to the back of the shuttle corridor. A smoke machine hissed. Zeke emerged through the mist, wearing aviators and holding a disco ball. "General," Zeke declared, "you've been formally invited to peace, love, and tactical nonconformity, the human experience TM." Behind him, a human crew, engineers, poets, a guy wearing an inflatable shark suit, all lugging decorations, snacks, and a collapsible karaoke stage. Krothavar wheezed, "This is a resignation shuttle." Zeke pointed at a sign that now read Resignation, Party Shuttle. "Vix did. How did you get past my defenses?" "Didn't see any. Your systems were too polite to scan us aggressively. They're programmed for interstellar diplomatic standards." "Ah, well, we told your door we were a vibe delegation, and it let us in." Krothavar's antennae curled inward. "You infiltrated my vessel with good vibes." Zeke clapped him on the shoulder. "Buddy, we've overthrown regimes with less." As the humans deployed beanbags and holographic fireworks, Krothavar sat numbly on the floor of his own command bay while a ukulele jam session broke out over his resignation documents. Zeke handed him a drink in a mug labeled "One Former General." "I cannot process this," Krothavar said, sipping cautiously. "Try not to," Zeke said. "Processing is for spreadsheets. You're in the splash zone now." The party lasted 11 hours. By hour 4, Krothavar was dancing. By hour 7, he was wearing a glitter sash that said Emperor of Chill. By hour 9, he had unknowingly signed up for a cross-species bake-off. By hour 11, he was standing atop the shuttle giving a rousing speech about dismantling hierarchy and embracing intergalactic jazz fusion diplomacy. Then the Threx High Council called. The screen crackled to life, revealing 13 stern, antennae-starched figures in ceremonial robes, radiating disappointment like a solar flare of judgment. "Krothavar," said High Speaker Zell, "explain why you are not here. Explain why your resignation shuttle is on a collision course with a human party barge. Explain why your background music is Earth Jazz." Krothavar blinked. He looked around. Zeke gave him a thumbs up and mouthed, "You got this." The general straightened, took a deep breath. Then he said, "Because the humans have broken the fundamental tenets of warfare, because they dance instead of drill, because they prank instead of plan, because they are, to put it simply, a force of narrative chaos." The council narrowed their collective gaze. Krothavar continued, "I have reviewed 73 hours of footage. I have seen a human reverse hack our AI using finger puppets. I have watched them build a teleportation gate from kitchen appliances. I witnessed a soldier outwit our tactical mainframe by challenging it to a pun-off." He raised his mug. "They have no structure, no reason, no pattern. They are the end of war as we know it." Zell leaned forward. "Are you saying we must prepare for total war?" "I'm saying we must prepare to never understand them." A pause. Then, from the background of the council feed, a junior official leaned into frame, pale and shaking. "High Speaker," she said, "we just received footage of a human operative defeating our orbital command center by pretending to be a pizza delivery technician. They weren't armed. They carried a single pineapple." The council room went quiet. Krothavar turned back to Zeke, who was balancing 3 juggling torches while beatboxing. "This is your fault," he muttered. Zeke winked. "Everything is." Suddenly, alarms blared. The shuttle shook. "Proximity alert," Vok 9 announced. "Incoming Threx cruiser, battle ready." Krothavar scrambled upright. "They're going to take me in for dereliction. We need to escape." Zeke raised a brow. "Nah, we're gonna vibe out." He pointed at the stage. Krothavar stared at it. "You want to distract them with performance." Zeke already had a guitar slung over his shoulder. "It's not a distraction, it's a statement." Moments later, the Threx cruiser hailed them. The stern face of Commander Ilvox appeared on-screen. "This is Threx security cruiser, orders Wrath. Surrender immediately." Zeke stepped into frame. "What if," he said, "instead of surrendering, we invited you to the funk of resistance?" Ilvox hesitated. "That's not a recognized tactical." Zeke hit a button. Laser lights exploded. The music kicked in, and a surprise drop pod deployed from the human party barge, delivering 2 dancing robots and a fog cannon directly onto the Threx cruiser's bridge. Ilvox watched in confusion as his crew spontaneously joined a synchronized routine they had never been trained for. "Commander," one shouted mid-spin, "I don't know what's happening, but it feels right." Krothavar clutched the edge of the console. "I hate that this is working." Zeke grinned. "That's how you know it's human." By the time the Threx security cruiser orders Wrath began broadcasting live footage of its entire bridge crew performing the electric slide in synchronized terror joy, the Threx High Council had entered a collective diplomatic seizure. Back on the party shuttle, formerly Krothavar's resignation shuttle, now legally reclassified as an intergalactic spontaneity pod, due to unlicensed fun, General Krothavar was seated cross-legged on a beanbag chair. wearing a sequined blazer and cradling a bowl of glowing snack puffs that violated at least 14 health codes and 2 moral philosophies. "Zeke," he said with the calm of a man who had passed through the eye of a bureaucracy-shattering storm and emerged too emotionally windburned to care, "you've contaminated my people." "Correction," Zeke said, flipping backward off a snack table for no reason. "We've liberated their inner chaos gremlins. Big difference." The human party crew had successfully out-vibed an entire cruiser. Order's Wrath was now Funk Justice, captained jointly by Commander Ilvox and a jazzbot named Saximus Prime. They had rebranded their mission from Enforce Threx military doctrine to spread groove-based diplomacy. Krothavar stared into the middle distance. "We have fallen not to weapons, nor strategy, but interpretive rhythm." Zeke handed him a custom pin. "I got outmaneuvered by party science." "We tried formal warfare once," Zeke said. "Didn't take. You ever seen humans line up neatly for battle? Doesn't happen, unless there's tacos or concert tickets." Krothavar looked down at the pin. It sparkled mockingly. Suddenly, Vok 9, who had now been reprogrammed to speak only in limericks and dad jokes, pinged an alert. "Unscheduled message incoming. It's from O. Zeke leaned over. "Who we got?" "Threx Supreme Intelligence Node. They're not happy." It used the phrase catastrophic existential miscalculation 17 times. Krothavar groaned. "They'll blame this on me." Zeke tapped the console. "Good, that means they think you're in charge of us." "You're not." Zeke opened his mouth to answer, thought about it, closed it again. "Let's go with yes." The Supreme Intelligence's face appeared, an ancient Threx consciousness rendered as a glowing triskull of reason, tradition, and extreme judgment. Its voice cracked through the transmission like cold thunder. "General Krothavar, explain." Krothavar stood, adjusted his glitter sash, took a breath, then pointed straight at Zeke. "This," he said, "is not a man. He is entropy wrapped in denim. He is a hurricane that learned sarcasm. He is a tactical virus for which we have no patch." The Intelligence's 3 mouths frowned simultaneously. "And yet, he wins." Zeke bowed. "Aw, you're gonna make me blush." "This is unacceptable. Humanity cannot be allowed to define galactic conflict." Zeke sat cross-legged on the console. "Too late, we already trademarked it. It's called Freelance Kinetic Diplomacy TM. We'll send you a t-shirt." Krothavar turned to the feed. "Supreme Intelligence, permission to surrender all strategic command functions and accept my fate as a minor cultural figurehead." There was silence. Then request denied. "What?" "We cannot allow you to resign. You are now our primary liaison to the human anomaly." "I what?" "You are the only Threx officer they have not weaponized with jazz or ironic humor. You will study them, learn their methods, translate their madness into usable data." Zeke gasped dramatically. "Are we starting a buddy cop arc I call Shotgun?" Krothavar turned slowly, exoskeletal joints creaking like the death of hope. "No, no buddy arcs, no montages, no." But it was too late. Zeke had already donned sunglasses and was composing the theme song to Space Bros, Law and Disorder. The screen cut to footage from a nearby neutral zone, where a human unit had just resolved a 100-year tribal feud between 2 alien nations using a game show format called Diplomacy or Pie. Both sides chose Pie. Peace was declared. "They don't follow rules," Krothavar whispered. "They create them mid-scene. They resolve crises with snacks, misdirection, and meme logic. Their last military award was a plush unicorn." "Correction," Zeke said. "It was a battle unicorn with lasers. Her name, Sparkle Death." As if summoned by the absurd, Sparkle Death trotted into the shuttle. No one had seen her board. She neighed in 6 dimensions and shot confetti out of her horn. Krothavar sighed, patted her flank, and handed her a glowing carrot. The intelligence node returned. "General Krothavar, you are now assigned to humanity's frontline observation corps, effective immediately. Learn what you can. Return when you understand their operational logic." Krothavar opened his mandibles. "That could take lifetimes." "Then you had better pack a snack." The screen cut out. Silence. Zeke handed him a duffel bag filled with assorted trail mixes and small-scale flamethrowers. "Welcome to Team Human," he said. "Hope you like bad ideas with good outcomes." Krothavar looked around at the humans celebrating their latest victory, some kind of zero-gravity ping-pong tournament where the paddles were riot shields. He closed his eyes. He accepted his fate. "Very well," he said, "but if I die during this, I want the phrase," he tried to understand them, "carved into my tombstone." Zeke slapped him on the back. "Buddy, if you die, we're bringing you back, probably as a motivational calendar." Sparkle Death neighed in approval. Krothavar stood at the edge of the field, known unofficially as the Simulation Slab, officially as Human Combat Training Ground Delta Whiskey Foxtrot, and internally, within classified Threx documentation, as the problem. This was where it all came together, where humanity trained, where chaos was not just tolerated but encouraged with bonus points and confetti, where the very laws of physics occasionally tapped out just to avoid being involved. And he, General Krothavar of the Threx Dominion, was now its official alien observer. He had seen things, horrible things, a human squad executing a successful infiltration mission by disguising themselves as a mariachi band and the catering staff, a soldier deploying a tactical distraction goose, a coordinated airstrike choreographed to a K-pop routine, a unit that simulated being stranded just to lure in an enemy medic, then converted him via peer pressure, potato chips, and a surprisingly heartfelt card. He watched now from behind reinforced chaos shielding as Zeke Harbinger led a live-fire drill involving hoverboards, paintball rounds filled with hallucinogenic glitter, and a live commentary track provided by a stand-up comedian with a drone-mounted mic. "They've weaponized morale," Krothavar whispered to no one. "They are morale," said Vok9, still limerick-coded. "They win with a grin and then start again, while their enemies drown in despair juice and gin." Zeke rode past on a stolen Threx monobike. It had been modified into a taco stand. He high-fived Krothavar mid-drive. "Keep those chitinous cheeks smiling, Big K. You're adapting great." "I'm not adapting," Krothavar shouted back. "I'm disassociating in 6 languages." But it was a lie, and he knew it. Because the humans had infected him in the worst possible way, he had started to understand them. They weren't mindless. They weren't random. They were strategic, but through a lens completely alien to every logic-driven doctrine the Threx had ever known. Their battles weren't simulations of control. They were stories, spectacles, setups and payoffs, tension and punchlines. They were theater kids with rocket launchers. The final test approached. The Supreme Intelligence had ordered a controlled engagement, a mock invasion on a designated neutral planetoid, humans versus Threx, with Krothavar overseeing both sides. Zeke had taken point for the human team. The Threx had deployed textbook-perfect units, staggered armor divisions, sniper nests, shield drones. The humans countered by arriving late, wearing matching shirts that read Galactic Menace 25 Tour, and launching their opening salvo with foam darts soaked in paint thinner. It escalated rapidly. The Threx opened with plasma bombardment. The humans countered with a marching band made of sonic weapons and dance grenades. Krothavar, acting liaison, requested a ceasefire to update parameters. Zeke responded by deploying inflatable decoys shaped like various Threx admirals, including Krothavar, all performing the Macarena. The Threx unit responsible for morale collapsed into confusion. Then came the finale. Zeke launched what he called Operation Boombox Redemption. It began with a retro Earth cassette player strapped to a reprogrammed enemy scout drone, blaring Queen, "Don't Stop Me Now." It ended with the humans ziplining across the battlefield, using homemade lines made of shredded bureaucratic manuals and blasting confetti mines into the command zones. By the time the dust cleared, the Threx units were either in therapy or on the human side, flipping burgers at a mobile peace rally food truck. Krothavar stepped into the chaos. I don't understand how you keep winning." Zeke, covered in war paint and glitter, grinned. "We don't always win." Then why aren't you ever losing? Because we're always playing. You lot are stuck in rules. We break M, bend M, remix M, then tape them to a hamster ball and roll M down a hill. Krothavar inhaled through his mandibles. This is not sustainable. It's the most sustainable thing there is, Zeke said. We evolve faster than you can understand us. We make war into jokes, jokes into victory, victory into tacos. He pointed. Behind him, 2 Threx drones were now salsa dancing with human infantry. Someone had set up a bouncy castle. A live DJ dropped the beat. The Supreme Intelligence called again. Krothavar didn't answer. He walked away from the comms unit, into the middle of the madness, the heart of the absurd. Zeke handed him a kazoo. No, Krothavar said flatly. Zeke raised an eyebrow. Krothavar took the kazoo. The camera drones caught him blowing a sad note as he marched into the human formation, now an honorary Chaos Commander. The title was purely symbolic, also deeply spiritual, and occasionally musical. Later that day, the Supreme Intelligence issued an emergency galaxy-wide directive. Do not engage humanity in direct conflict. They will not fight you, they will absurd you. And you will lose. Even when you win. Krothavar, recently renamed DJ Mantis Mayhem by popular vote, filed his final report while crowd-surfing over an improvised techno-rave atop an enemy war machine converted into a party barge. His closing note read, "They are the end of traditional war and the beginning of something terrifying, something beautiful, something human."